So usually, I think national populism is something good if I really focus on the meaning. National populism. Why? I'm talking just about the name, okay? Not about whatever happened in the past, in the future, whatever, okay? Because national, it's your nation. So it's your nation, it's something good, it's your country, and populism is the people, so it's your people. So people and nation seems good. But then, once they explain here, they say that people and financial, media, and political elites are against each other. That populism suggests that, and I don't think it does. I think populism means people. When you say people, it means everybody. Rich, poor, it's a team, it's a group. So I think they're referring not to the term itself, but from past cases in history when somebody may have done a misuse of the term. So I believe that happens a lot. And again, on the marketing, which is easy, I'm sorry Guinness, I'm sorry Diageo, I'm just mentioning, and maybe they say that bad publicity is good publicity, whatever, but it's an easy case. When you say Guinness, they're misusing the term Guinness because Guinness beer is basically Diageo. So Diageo is the real brand behind Guinness. So everything, for example, when you talk Guinness, you talk about this advertising everywhere. There's this advertising everywhere. So that's they put on umbrellas, on restaurants, there's these signs everywhere. But this is Diageo doing this today, not Guinness. Guinness was sold in 1986, that's like about 30 years ago, 16, 14, 19, 33 years ago. So that can mean that I'm not sure if Guinness would manage, if the Guinness family who created that company would still own that company. I'm not sure if the company would be on the same stage as it is now, or with the same power, but the name is still there. So in 2019, somebody will refer to Guinness as what they see in 2019, but maybe Guinness was a completely different company in the 60s. Why? Because the real name is Diageo, but somehow they're using the name Guinness, but it's not. It's Diageo. The company name is Diageo. They are the owners of the company. They are the company itself. Guinness is just a brand. It's just a name, but the company ceased its operations in 1986. You still have the assets, you still have the manufacturer, the factories or something, but that's a different case. But the company's real name is Diageo. So a lot of times when somebody's talking about Guinness today, they're basically talking about Diageo. So maybe that happens to political movements and organizations, institutions too. So maybe they're saying populist, but they're not referring to populist, they're referring to a dictatorship that named themselves populism as a way to look popular, but they're not popular. It's just a facade. So that could be. So again, I would split the names, and I think one thing's talking about something bad, but not identifying national populism means that people are against finance, media, and political elites, especially if national populism is an elite, because whatever. So I just started right there. I find like this big confusing terms. Sometimes I think everything became so complicated nowadays that sometimes we need to try to simplify, because it's going so complicated that I think it's more complicated than this. It's just not possible, because we live life only once and we have only one brain. Sometimes I think I prefer to reduce my knowledge. So I think the splitting the term and what they complain, which it says interests of people are opposed to the interests of people. I disagree with that. I don't think that exists. I believe there is bad and good, and sometimes you have situations of power that the people in power, they're either not qualified, or they are bad, or they are negligent. There's lots of ways you can criticize somebody who's in power. Somebody they're just bad. There's bad rulers. The bad powers are ignorance, and then it's to know if it's on purpose or not, and then it's something else. I do not. There's one word that I don't like, which is financial. I believe it's also a very complicated term. It should be reduced to banking. What do you do? Banking. Banking means banking. Terms like financial, they should be exclusive of the banking industry. So anytime you refer to that as a short term, you should just use banking and finance. A lot of other terms, they should be under that umbrella. And media, it's also communications is the word that I use. So the projects of banking, communications, and governments, because when you say political elites, you're talking governments. So it'd be banking, communication, and governments. So that's the interest people are opposed. So the popular rejection of the elite-driven ideological projects of replacing level mass. Oh my God, this is a lot. This is a salad. I'm sorry. Who wrote this? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm the know-it-all guy, but maybe I am. But who wrote this? Because this is just introduction of the event. It's not saying, it's not, because the event is Dr. Thomas Ladd is going to talk about one thing, Greg's going to talk about something else, Mark about something else, Millennium, Freud, and then there is this general synopsis here that basically is the one that says everything. The Brexit, well, there's Donald Trump, there's Brexit, there's a lot. The rise of populist nationalist parties all over Europe, in the face of the liberal globalist elites, efforts to persuade whites that mass immigration, multiculturalism, and the dismantling of nation states are both desirable and inevitable. Recent studies by prominent academics. I think this is something that it seems they tried to make it so short that it became too complicated, because there's a lot of very big concepts there. But I can see that the general idea is definitely that we're not happy where we are right now, because all they mention here is Brexit, mass immigration, Donald Trump, liberal, the global finance, media. It's what's going on. So it's something which is against the status quo. It's against what's happening in the world nowadays. In liberal democracies, which are supposed to build a popular rule, populism is routinely enterprising uses a derogatory term to delegitimize political rhetorics that are not in line with mainstream media narratives. Whenever the rule goes against mass media, this never takes face value, but rather dismissed as some sort of terrible mistake or temporary setback. We will discuss what the rise of nationalism means in the future of white national. Yeah, it's also a bit complicated to really, but I understand the beginning, but I do not, I disagree on the liberal against conservative, because I think liberal democracy, again, going by etymology, I think is the right word, like about, I think maybe it's what I'm saying here is a bit a reflection of what we're living nowadays, which is this complexity of everything. It's an example is this computer itself. You just see the screen there, but this computer itself, I still started with a typewriter. I'm 43, somebody wouldn't believe, but when I was 10, 9, 8 years old at school, I would learn first to type on the real typewriter, and that's the 80s. In the 80s, we did not have computers. Even the video games, they started in the 90s. In the 80s, maybe just very few cases, but most everywhere would be the typewriter. So I started a typewriter was a piece of paper and a keyboard. This. It's all there. You type here and it goes there. It was very simple. You could, as a child, we would do this. Oh, this is how it works. And we would be talking for hours about how ingenious that is. That you press the button here and the thing goes here and stand. Okay? Now we have this machine and there's Wi-Fi. That's millions. You can listen to music. So if I want to write something, I'll go to a software and then I will write here and I'll have, look how many options. Look how many options here. Look, you can put like some million. That's like a million. So what I'm saying is that also here when we try to read, it's a lot, but it's because I think it is a lot associated with all the technologies we have, that we save and then we save and then we read again, and there's so many books and so many college degrees and so many studies and so many sources of information. Then the result is a bit of this mess we are nowadays. So we have all this potpourri with a lot of different things, and in this small text we're talking about a lot of different things, but the big picture is something about white and European, which seems to be the big picture. But I'm not sure if they're saying this in a good way. If you want to know more about events, please see here the Red Eyes, Millennium, Arca Brand this week, Anton Jonas, the after party. If you want, Scan South Forest. If you have 2 conferences coming on, remember to let us know. Remember also that person sending confirmation. So this is an event happening on October 12th. I think if I were in Copenhagen, I would go because I'm a very curious person and I am very interested in everything, politics and all. But I'm not sure if it's, in my particular case, it's worth for me going and traveling and going all the way there. If it's not going to be a debate, if it's just going to be an explanation of something that's so confusing. But let's go by one. So Tomislav, he's from the American Freedom Party, there's more into the American Freedom Party. Okay, so he's on 7 books in English and French. Ramos Paluda, Criminal Defense Attorney, Danish Political Party. I'd be very interested in seeing him, because I think to be a criminal defense attorney is something that no matter what country you are, you see a lot. And so I'd like to listen to what he has to say, because usually I think the criminal law is real life, unfortunately, is when things go bad. As already that's 36 minutes. 36. I went to make a 10 minutes and I've been 36 minutes. So Mark Collett, Greg Johnson, the one they call it. Okay.
Space. It's going down. Space.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So. Okay, my comments were not particularly about each of this. It's just about the link that our friend sent to us about this event is happening. I'm going to reduce in more detail because I'm interested in Remus Paludão. I'm interested in Dr. Tomislav to know him and see what he has to say. And the Scottish writing coordinator. But I'm not sure if it's worth a bit to go all the way there. I do not like the big picture at all. I'm not talking about the individuals, but I don't like the big picture. I don't like this. I don't find. As I said, I find it a bit a lot of concepts mixed up. But still, I'm saying this because I'm marketing person, so commercial sales. So usually I try to do this. I would work on that if I would be in charge of this. And so let's go here back to our friend. This is a symbol of the Celtic. Let's finish with this. The Celtic infinity, probably all relate to infinity. The three powers, like maybe earth, wind, water, or fire, water. It's I love all the Celtic mythology. They always so meaningful, and they usually anything related to Celtic mythology opens your eyes to life and seeing things that are more profound. I think it's 1,000 years history. Sometimes I think that the last 2 centuries in human history, there's just too much. I think life is more simple. I myself, I follow paleo diet, for example. I love paleo diet. 10 ingredients, 20 ingredients you can eat for the rest of your life. Okay, so look, it was a pleasure talking again. And let's close with our AP AP team. Right?
That's it. Well, just